How's it going, you guys? So in this video, I'm going to be discussing homeopathy and what homeopathy actually is. The reason why I'm making this video is because most people who talk about homeopathy, they are using the term wrong, okay? So what is homeopathy? Homeopathy is essentially the idea that a substance that causes a symptom can actually cure a symptom or treat a symptom in small, minuscule amounts. Okay, so for example, for insomnia, um, typically, doctors recommend to avoid caffeine, avoid coffee to relieve insomnia because coffee is supposed to cause insomnia and make insomnia worse. But homeopathic medicines or remedies for insomnia would generally recommend tiny, like mini molecular amounts of coffee to remedy the symptom. Okay, so instead of drinking a cup of coffee like people would do to stay awake, a homeopathic medicine or remedy would recommend like a tiny microscopic dose of coffee to to put you to sleep. And so, in a sense, a lot of so-called skeptics, right, would hate me for this, but it's almost similar to the idea of vaccination. Almost, not really, but almost. And taking a tiny amount of something to relieve a symptom that would otherwise be made worse by the same remedy at higher amounts. Okay. So, personally, I don't use homeopathic medicines or remedies. I don't feel the need for them. Uh, I don't study the science behind homeopathy because I find that herbs and nutrition are far more effective and they're time tested. They've been used for, you know, hundreds of times longer than homeopathy. If I remember correctly, homeopathy has only been around for 300 years. And I might be wrong, but maybe they've been around for longer. But about 300 years or so, homeopathic medicines or remedies have been used. Whereas herbalism's been used for thousands and thousands of years, okay? And not only that, but there's wide communities of millions of people who use herbal remedies. And you could find forums and all sorts of communities on the internet of people actually using herbal remedies, not only to relieve symptoms of conditions, but oftentimes to put them into remission as well. And I myself don't even really use herbs as much anymore because my nutrition is so on point. I use specific nutritional protocols now to make me feel my best. Because of the style of eating I do, I don't really need herbal remedies anymore. I don't need excessive amounts of reishi mushroom to put me to sleep anymore. I don't need turmeric to relieve the pain I feel from all the hard training I do because my nutrition has a strong anti-inflammatory effect. I'm not eating the foods that typically trigger pain and inflammation in most people. Nine times out of 10, people don't even realize it's a nutritional trigger in the first place. But regardless, if I have something like if I want to be more relaxed or I want to feel more pumped up, I'll use some type of remedy like coffee or whatever it may be. But I don't use homeopathic remedies. But the reason why I'm making this video is because, like, most people who talk about homeopathy don't know what it is. Homeopathy is not herbalism. Homeopathy does not, recommend turmeric for inflammation, magnesium for relaxation. Homeopathy is very specific. It's taking a substance that will cause a symptom to cure the symptom if you take tiny amounts. That's what homeopathy is, and it's just crazy how many people talk down on they're talking about herbalism like you have these wannabe skeptic people who basically they just repeat whatever the mainstream says, and anything outside of mainstream understanding of health, they try to debunk it because it doesn't agree with the things they've been told their entire life. And these so-called skeptics, they'll be like talking about acupuncture and talking about using magnesium to relieve insomnia, or using nutrition to put a disease into remission. And they'll be falsely labeling all of that as homeopathy, when in reality, all of those things, for one, have recently been implemented into a lot of mainstream medical practices, as an alternative to more invasive therapies, and they're generally more effective. And I can point you all to multiple randomized controlled trials using a lot of different herbs and minerals and things to relieve symptoms and things. But they falsely claim that those are homeopathy when they're not. And the thing is, most people that watch these people's videos and read their information, they don't even know, like, they don't even realize how gigantically ignorant these people are. Like, they don't realize that these people are making a video about herbs and nutrition and supplements, and they're claiming it's homeopathy, and they're saying homeopathy's been debunked and blah blah blah. Like, actual homeopathy, yeah, it's not as effective as placebo according to certain trials, but when you use those trials done on homeopathic remedies, and you use those trials to say that turmeric doesn't relieve pain or something, or omega-3 fish oil doesn't lower triglycerides, homeopathy has not been proven, and blah blah blah, it's been proven to be ineffective. Like, this is so ignorant. And the worst part about it is that these people think that they're being smart. They think that they are presenting accurate information, and they think that they're like scientifically correct, when in reality they're not even using the word homeopathy right. And that's massively important when you're trying to use studies done on actual homeopathic remedies, and using the results from those studies to try to debunk nutritional protocols that have been extensively researched and have an abundance of evidence that they're effective for certain disease states and remedies and markers of disease. And they're just like using homeopathy as like a blanket term to debunk it all, and it's crazy. Millions of views in some of these videos, but the good thing is that people are slowly waking up and at least understanding, for one, that nutrition is a very powerful protocol depending on the disease in question and the nutritional protocol in question. Because sometimes nutrition will cure a problem but cause many others depending on the protocol. Like one thing that cures diabetes might lead to chronic deficiencies of nutrients and other things long term. But slowly, mainstream medicine is starting to shift towards more nutritional protocols. Medical doctors are actually starting to read scientific articles now, or actual studies, which, believe it or not, most medical practitioners that I've talked to, for a long time, I meet new doctors all the time, who do not actually understand the science or the history of diabetes. They say, unless you have a genetic predisposition, you don't have to worry about diabetes. When that's just crazy. Like, no nutritional protocol can reverse diabetes or put into remission. It's like, anyway, homeopathy is not herbalism. Homeopathy is not amino acids, vitamins, minerals. Homeopathy is not exercise prescriptions to remedy a disorder. It's not nutritional recommendations. Homeopathy is very specific. It's those little vials you'll see in health food stores, sometimes with like 3xx 9cc as dosage. And you'll see way more herbs than you'll see homeopathic remedies. I'm not saying homeopathy's ineffective. I don't really know because I don't have experience with it. but I do know that herbs and nutraceuticals are highly effective, and nutrition is the end all be all as far as creating, preventing, or reversing disease. So, yeah. Leave your question and comments down below. Talk to y'all later.